In this video, we're going to look at how we post the petty cash book to the general ledger. Now, on screen, we have an example of a petty cash book, this one without balances brought down and carried down. And we'll look first of all at how we post the receipt side. So when we look at the receipts, we've got £36 being received as petty cash during the period. And that is going to be recorded as a debit to petty cash. It's a debit because it represents an increase in the value of our petty cash asset. We'll then post where that money has come from. Now, here we have a petty cash book where we've just got one column for receipts, and this is fairly common because in the majority of cases, the only type of receipt that a business has into its petty cash is money drawn from the bank. But in this instance, we've got a further example. We've got some money being drawn from the bank, and we've also got some money from postage. Here we might be talking about an employee who uses the franking machine for their own private mail and then reimburses the business for the cost that was incurred. So where we've just got one column, we'll debit the total to petty cash, and then we'll go down the individual receipts and credit them to appropriate accounts in the general ledger. So the £34 will be credited to the bank account, and the £2 will be credited to a postage account. We can then bring up the general ledger accounts that these entries will be made into, petty cash, bank, and postage accounts, and we'll transfer the information from our postings lists into those general ledgers. I've used the description petty cash book in each of these examples. Now that we've looked at how we post the petty cash receipts, let's have a look at how we post petty cash payments. So we have the payments highlighted on the screen now, and we will start posting those totals from our payment columns into our postings list. Now, the total of £49, that represents the total amount paid from petty cash. It's a reduction in the value of an asset, our petty cash, so that £49 will be recorded as a credit and to the petty cash account. Then we will post the VAT, postage, travel and cleaning totals for the month, and all of these will be recorded as debits. They'll be recorded as debits because they are either a reduction in the value of the business's liabilities, in the case of VAT, or they are increases in the value of the business's expenses, in the case of postage, travel expenses and cleaning. So let's bring up our general ledger accounts that these amounts will be recorded in. And those will simply be transferred, in the case of the petty cash account, to the credit side of that account, and in all of the others to the debit side of the general ledger accounts. Again, I've used the description petty cash book when writing up my different accounts. Finally, let's have a look at the situation where we're posting a petty cash book that does have balances brought down and balances carried down. So we have exactly the same example as before, but we've added those balances at the start and the end of April. Now, where we have this, we don't actually need a separate petty cash account in our general ledger. Instead, we can use the petty cash book as part of the double entry bookkeeping system. And this is very similar to the way that we dealt with our normal cash book, which had balances brought down and carried down. So I'll just bring up the same postings lists that we constructed when we were dealing with the petty cash books that didn't have the receipts or the balances brought down or carried down. So up on screen we have those postings. Well, where we've got the balances brought down and carried down, we no longer need the petty cash postings in our postings lists. We can get rid of those because that information is already on the debit and credit side of our petty cash book. So we don't need to post anything to the petty cash account, but we do need to post all of the other entries that we recorded previously. And that is how we post a petty cash book where we do have balances brought down and carried down.